that a lot.
All the time. That's why I'm an advocate of bringing them in out of the shadows. So they won't be a preyed upon community.
That's the thing. I am an advocate for legal sex work.
Yes.
Because it's going to happen, but it would protect these workers.
It would protect everybody, including the customers.
They would pay taxes. There would be some regulation as far as testing for disease.
Take the violence out of it.
Safety, human trafficking. It might cut down on that.
Drug testing.
Drugs. Yeah.
Right.
Having a pimp.
Yeah.
That's beating you, assaulting you.
Right. Just all the little bad things that happen in the community would be gone.
Yes, I agree.
But anyway. And this, number one, is there every time there's someone who preying on people, they just swing by, because who else is going to willingly jump in your car as a stranger?
Well, that's the thing.
And drive off to a damn desolate area.
Easy to lure these people into the vehicle.
Right.
You offer them money. You're not paying them up front.
No.
You take them off. You can have you can have your way with them.
They're going to ride with you to a...
They typically, and not all of them, but many of them do have drug addictions. A lot of them are more like the drifter types, transient.
Right.
They maybe don't have a close network of family, support, friends.
They're not going to be missed.
So when they do go missing, or no one hears from them for several days, it's harder to put two and two together because, well, I don't hear from my daughter every day, so it might be 6 weeks before I hear from my daughter. Well, a lot of these cases, the sex workers become victims. I can think of a few serial killers like Joel Rifkin in New York.
Okay.
He preyed upon sex workers. There's the unsolved, is it the Gilgo Beach murders in New York?
Yeah.
And those are unsolved, but those women all had ties to being sex workers.
Well, the West Mesa killing grounds out there was full of missing women that a lot have been tracked back to sex work.
There's a lot of violence against prostitutes. I was looking up some of the figures for that.
That's unsolved as well. 2004
is like the last homicide rate I could find for female sex workers in the United States. It's estimated to be like 204 out of 100,000.
Wow.
And that mixes illegal work with legal work.
No, that's super fucking high.
There's a lot of violence against prostitutes.
Like if you work somewhere and there's like around 10 deaths per 100,000, you work in a very dangerous industry. So that's crazy.
Now this is an interesting fact I thought I would bring up. Of course, female prostitution is mostly illegal in the United States, given, you're not in Nevada.
Right.
Working in a brothel.
Yeah.
It's an extremely dangerous job, as we all know. I mean, they face risks of violence, not only from their clients, but just the environment, disease, lots of stuff like that. But there was a study that suggested that between 2002 and 2010, Craigslist, they provided an erotic services section on the front page.
Okay.
And it was used almost exclusively by prostitutes to advertise illegal sex services.
Imagine that.
Well, the company opened that service in a lot of different cities at different points in time, and they were able to identify that it reduced the female homicide rate by 17.4%.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Just because they're not doing the cold call in the corner shit?
It had a very casual effect on female safety. Well, you've got to think about it. If there is a quote-unquote
trail of communication.
Yeah. Because think about that.
Okay, so the crazy predator guy's not going to hit you up on Craigslist and have a login information and all that shit.
The study also found that there was some evidence that suggested that the erotic services offered reduced female rape offenses in those areas.
That goes along. That's all been proven time and again in societies. That societies who have more liberal sex law, like the Netherlands or Amsterdam thing, places like that, rape and all that is reduced in society.
Well, some of the analysis from this study shows that this reduction in female violence was the result of street prostitutes basically moving indoors and were able to match more efficiently with safer clients. So, for example, if you're a a sex worker and you're at home, you're talking on the phone with these people, you're emailing, you're making some sort of initial contact. It's almost like an intake with these clients. That they were able to weed out.
Yeah.
People that gave them the creeps.
And they could
or
also,
things they didn't want to do.
They
like
could
when
also,
they're setting up the appointment, like, well, I may not be into that. And it was a lot easier for them to match with clients that way than to just be picked up on the street, taken to a secluded place and say, no, I don't want to do that.
This is what I want you to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they can quickly warn all the other workers if you got somebody who does something out of the way with technology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that is, that rather proves what we were saying earlier. There's some evidence that proves that it's safer to literally get them off the corners.
So the internet, if we're talking about specifically like Craigslist Backpage, they seem to have made the customer screening much easier, reduce those costs of security. Like if you're thinking about a pimp,
well, you don't need him
in terms of security.
Now.
I mean, it's kind of hard to see a downside to it. I mean, unless you are just adamantly opposed to prostitution.
Well, people are going to say it's going to degrade the foundations of marriage or, some shit like that, even though the divorce rate's well above 50% anyway, right? And my thought is if someone's going to do it, they're going to do it anyway, right? They're going to cheat. If they're cheating on wife or husband, they're going to do it either way.
Right.
Be it with... And why is that illegal if I go to this, stranger and just give her money and she does this service for me, if you will, but then I can go, screw my neighbor, and cheat on my wife, but they don't come lock me up for that. See, that's the part I don't get.
Well, it just seems to me that, whether or not you are opposed to prostitution, wouldn't it be worth it to reduce a few hundred or even thousands of murders a year?
It's the ripple effect in the community. You're taking all this violence and problems, and the cops getting called down there, wasting their time, and the emergency services coming down there. All that shit is money spent, resources burned on when it can, it could save, who knows, tens of thousands of dollars to even smaller communities over a year by not having to deal with this stuff.
Well, and I get some people deem prostitution as, it's sinful to pay for sex, all of that. I mean, morally, I understand where some people come from the side of it disrespects institutions of marriage, monogamy in general, it's against God's will. I mean, I understand
they can have that. They can have that opinion. That's fine.
And, but it just seems like it's really dangerous for those workers who may be risking their lives for a multitude of reasons.
Here's the thing, it's going to happen anyway.
And
I mean, that's
to think about someone like Thomas Huskey taking these women off the streets, and some of them are not even working the street. Like, he just grabs them up, takes them off. I mean, it's really hard to trace this anonymous attacker.
What's impossible?
But if you have some sort of paper trail or electronic file,
or some kind of a network,
IP addresses, it's a heck of a lot easier to track down these people.
Well, it is because there's been a lot of things solved through Craigslist, murders and various things,
right?
Because you do inevitably, if you're being careful, leave a trail of sorts.
So that is the case of Thomas Huskey, the Zoo Man.
What the hell?
Of Knoxville. I mean, the guy got away with murder.
He did. Now, they slammed him on the rapes.
They did.
Which I think they did that because they knew he was guilty of the murders.
Likely.
Because, like we've said before, you can rape a woman and be out in damn 2 years. Beat the hell out of her and rape.
If you even get jail time.
Even if you get... if you even get... That disgusts me. But anyway. So he went away and stayed away, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at his age, he's likely going to die in jail.
He was a monster.
He is a monster. I mean, this is horrific stuff.
And he kept going there after the cops even found him up there.
Yep.
I mean, what does that say?
Ballsy. And then played up this defense of multiple personalities.
And played it good enough to throw a wrench in their plans.
Yeah, exactly.
What an asshole.
Well,
some bitch.
I know. Thanks for listening to the case of Thomas Huskey here on Mountain Murders.
Yeah.
As always, you can download our podcast, hit subscribe, give us 5-star review if you feel froggy.
Yeah, we got quite a few of those on Apple Podcasts. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate that. And of course, if you love our podcast, you want to support the podcast, let's tell them about Patreon.
Yeah, do you want to tell them about it? Because I always mumble mouth it.
For a couple of bucks a month, we're talking as low as $3 a month, you can support the podcast over on Patreon. Of course, that money directly supports our content, material, everything we're able to bring to you. We also give our Patreon fans, our patrons, access to exclusive content. We post other podcast episodes there that are not available for the public. We post pictures, videos, a lot of information tying the cases together that you hear on Mountain Murders, but it's just a little extra something for you. And like I said, $3 a month, you can support the podcast. And of course, you can find us on Facebook, Mountain Murders. You can find us on Twitter, Mountain Murders as well, and on Instagram, Mountain Murders Podcast. So go like us, follow us. We love you guys.
Keep it coming.